Radical.
Finally, The Rock has come back to Smackdown, is what we're going to talk about in a little bit. But first, I got to get this out of the way. CM Punk was fired, let go, however you call it, from AEW. He came back for about 2 months. Basically, they separated him on his own show, I think, called Collision. I was just about to, get to watching some CM Punk back in AEW, and now he's gone. I think he got into like a fight or something with somebody. Then Samoa Joe might be involved. I did see a little bit of their match. I know he went to do a Pepsi plunge on Samoa Joe, and I think he botched it a bit. Just not keeping up with AEW. Yeah, just not a whole lot of time to keep up with wrestling. But the wrestlers that I know, which would be like John Cena, CM Punk, The Rock from years back, the wrestlers that I know, I usually tune in when there's a big return. So CM Punk on his way out, I don't think it's a work. I mean, some people online are saying it's a work. I don't think it is. I think legitimately it makes sense for him not to be there because he doesn't get along with the Young Bucks and then a couple of the others, Adam, Hangman Page. You just can't have someone like CM Punk under the same roof with a lot of those other people. You just can't, situation where I don't think like Tony Khan can throw money at it and make it better. CM Punk's he's that kind of guy. It's not really about the money with him, and the Khans definitely have a lot of money. So I don't know if I don't think he's going to go back to WWE. I think he's probably done, at least for the moment, in wrestling. And he's sure as hell not going to go back into the MMA because he got his ass stomped in the MMA. So I don't know. It's just, it was interesting to see CM Punk come back. And he had a good feud with MJF a year or two ago. So, hey, what do you want? He came back, had a nice little run in AEW, and now he's probably not going to wrestle anymore. But there's somebody that we don't know if he's ever going to wrestle again. He's in damn good shape, I'll tell you that. I'm talking about the one, the only Dwayne "The Rock" fucking Johnson. Made his return on Smackdown, which was a show that was named after one of his sayings. The Rock's gonna lay it the smacketh down on your candy ass. Yeah, like his saying. So to some of you that don't know the history of Smackdown, that says a lot. How big The Rock was in the late 90s, the fact that they actually created a whole show off of one of his catchphrases tells you all you need to know about the popularity of The Rock. Zoom ahead 20, 25 years, and The Rock is still very, very popular. Some people, they only grow in popularity because they're natural born talent of charisma. Now, a lot of people, they don't like The Rock in movies. They criticize him. They say like, hey, you know what? We don't like him in this movie. Black Adam wasn't that good. I liked Black Adam okay, but, The Rock, really, his calling, he's known predominantly for being one of the biggest, baddest, most electrifying men in sports entertainment. And he can back it up, man. Like, he's not exactly Bret Hart in the ring. He's not a technician, but when it comes to just putting on a show, man, The Rock really, I think, stands alone. He came back. And I didn't see it coming. Of course, I've not been following WWE. I just happened to actually click on it on a little sidebar recommended. And first I thought it was maybe a video from years and years ago. Because, sometimes you'll get a recommendation on YouTube for something that was years ago. Or WWE will upload something to their YouTube channel that is years old. But no, he came back. Pat McAfee, mostly for talking about football and whatnot on his podcast. Him and Austin Theory, who is a wrestler I don't know a whole lot about. But from what I know about Austin Theory, they're trying to position him as one of the, the big names in WWE right now. And I'll tell you, he has the look, he has the physique. Maybe like he's a little small compared to like, maybe like a Rock or a Cena, something like that. Um, and his mic skills, they need some work, I would say. Of course, you can't help but look deficient in the ring if you're next to The Rock, who, all natural, has a great physique. I'll stress, all natural. He just eats a lot of potatoes to get his potassium. And he takes L-glutamine, which I talked about weeks back. Yeah. He takes a lot of L-glutamine to get those hard-looking muscles that don't look natural. But, yeah, I mean, he's in his 50s. So he takes like a little bit of the juice. Okay. I don't know if he's Mark McGuiring it. Mark McGuire, a baseball player who famously took a lot of roids to hit them dingers out of the stadiums. So, like I said, it's hard to look on equal footing with The Rock, both physically or on the mic. And both of them, Pat McAfee and Austin Theory, they had a little jibba back and forth, and I really wasn't feeling it. I wasn't. I clicked on it because it was said The Rock returns and whatnot. To me, I don't know what it is. It just didn't have like, maybe it's the writing in WWE, because all their stuff is scripted and written. I think it's better if you let the wrestlers go out there and cut promos themselves. Like Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, they would allow them leeway in going out there and cutting their own promos. It comes off as more natural. This new batch of wrestlers, in many respects, wrestling is just not as good as it used to be. But The Rock's one of those guys from that era, that attitude era. So when he comes back, giant pop, bigger than any pop for any wrestler currently on the roster. I guarantee it. If Austin comes back from time to time, he gets a huge pop. What I did love was the Brahma Bulls they had in the background when he came out. The Brahma Bulls on the Titantron, or whatever, maybe they don't call it the Titantron. I would say from a technical standpoint, things look better now than they used to, arguably. Like the sets, maybe they don't have the pyro as much, but I like the way things look now. He came down there and he broke up their jibber jabbering. And, same stuff where Austin Theory, he was disrespecting the crowd in the house, and The Rock was playing up to the crowd like, saying things like, you don't insult the people. Stuff of that nature, right? And then I think he might even called him a Rudy Poo Candy Ass. All that stuff, man. All that. He didn't talk to the crowd about like, maybe in these times he can't like talk about how the ladies want his strudel. Maybe there's certain things that The Rock can't really say in his promos right now. But there's one funny bit to where, and by the way, when all this is happening, Pat McAfee, he was just eating it up, man. Because Pat's a big wrestling fan, so he was just eating that. He was literally just eating it up like, man. He was like just cheerleading all that stuff when The Rock came out there. So there's one interesting moment. The Rock actually said, I'll tell you what you are. The people know what you are. And he said, on this side of the crowd, you chant, what did he say exactly? You are. And then on the other side, he said for them to chant, an a-hole. Only I'm not sure if he said a-hole or asshole. So for a good 2-3 minutes, you didn't hear much of the YouTube upload. And I'll leave a link to it after this. But about half the upload you can't hear because, they were, I don't think it's a YouTube thing. I think it's on USA. They were blanking it out so you couldn't hear anything. And I was just happy that the crowd didn't keep chanting that after that, because then it would be silent. You couldn't hear anything. And then he switched up and he had the one side say, you are, and then the other side say, an a-hole. And then Austin Theory got in there once and said, it doesn't matter what you think or something like that. And I was thinking, okay, when he said that, The Rock's going to slap the shit out of his mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like after that, but he held for a little bit. And I think actually, what did he say? Something, you know, on the count of three, The Rock's going to whip your candy ass. 1, 2, and then Austin jumped him quick, but it didn't take that long for him to, throw him off the ropes. You give him the, not the rock bottom. I would have loved to see a rock bottom. That would have been cool, man. But, that like setup move for the people's elbow, I'm not sure the technical term for the maneuver. He gave him that setup, and he was down there for like ever. And the one thing about the people's elbow I always like criticize was, if you're hamming it up, it looks so unrealistic if he does that one maneuver, and it's not like a big setup maneuver, like a big power bomb or something like that. If it's just like a kind of bit of a front-facing slam, then they're not going to be down there forever. Unless maybe it's a grueling match. This was not. So there's no reason for Austin Theory not to like pop up and him to maybe give him like what would have been the best is for him to pop up and then him to give him a rock bottom and then for him to do the people's elbow. But he hammed it up. Austin Theory was down there for days, it seemed like. And then he does the left kick, the right kick, and then he did the people's elbow. I would say mostly it looked like the people's elbow from the past. Maybe he's a little bit slower. I don't know if he threw the shades off into the crowd. I don't know if he did like the left arm, right arm kind of back and forth. I will say I don't think he emphasizes the eyebrow as much because he doesn't have much of an eyebrow to raise. I think all the L-glutamine has caused him to lose all of his body hair, including the eyebrows. One side effect of, L-glutamine. But he gave him that people's elbow. But then Pat McAfee, in comparison, gets up there, and maybe it's done on purpose for him to look kind of goofy in comparison to The Rock, I guess. But it was kind of lame. He goes left, he goes right, and then he has this like long hanging people's elbow. I guess he didn't want to show up The Rock. But I could have just done without it, I suppose.